I gifted them some cleats. Some warm, some didn't, but I was like, okay, this is just my little appreciation gift to them. Because they don't be having a lot of...
I handed out some cleats. A few wore them, a few didn't, but to me it was simply, all right, this is just my little way of giving back. They usually don't have much available anyway. That was Shedeur Sanders casually flexing that his personal Nike cleats sold out faster than anyone expected. And make no mistake, the hype wasn't just noise. It was very real. Now, Nike is reportedly preparing to offer him one of the richest rookie extensions in endorsement history, a deal that could make him the highest paid newcomer the company has ever signed. But while fans can't get enough of him, not every voice in the football world is clapping. Some see this rise as deserved, others as unfair. Let's unpack the full story. The journey of Shedeur Sanders isn't typical. From day one, the weight of his last name carried expectations. Being the son of Deion, Coach Prime Sanders meant that the spotlight was waiting for him whether he wanted it or not. But what Shedeur has done with that spotlight is what sets him apart. At Jackson State, he didn't just show flashes, he dominated the field. His reads were sharp, his accuracy undeniable, and his leadership stood out. Numbers piled up, victories followed, and the conversation shifted. He wasn't just Deion's kid, he was Shedeur, the quarterback with a killer instinct. The next chapter was Colorado. When Deion took the leap to lead CU, Shedeur followed, and the questions poured in. Could he compete at a Power 5 level? Could he thrive outside of the SWAC, where many critics thought competition was softer? Shedeur didn't just answer, he silenced. In his first games, he posted monster numbers, keeping calm under pressure, delivering in clutch moments, and proving he belonged on any stage. The doubters didn't have much left to stand on. But his story isn't just about football. Off the field, Shedeur was rewriting the rules of how college athletes could build wealth. The NIL era opened doors, and he didn't just step through, he built a mansion on the other side. By his final season at Colorado, Shedeur's NIL valuation reached a staggering $5.1 million. Think about that. A college quarterback pulling in more than many pro players who'd already earned first-round draft status. That's not just rare, it's unprecedented. Normally, NIL deals dry up once a player leaves college. The hype fades, the spotlight shifts, and the cash slows down. But Shedeur isn't following the normal path. For him, those numbers are only climbing. Why? Because he's proven he's not just an athlete. He's a brand. Nike knew it early. Signing Shedeur wasn't just about betting on his arm, it was about his influence. When those custom cleats flew off the shelves, it wasn't hype, it was market proof. The Sanders name sells, and Shedeur has packaged himself in a way that companies can't resist. Gatorade, Beats by Dre, luxury car brands, the list of suitors keeps growing. And here's the kicker, it doesn't look forced. When Shedeur pulls up in custom suits, draped in jewelry, or posing beside a new ride, it doesn't feel like an ad. It feels authentic. It feels like Shedeur. That's the magic of it. But while his fan base grows, inside the locker room and across the league, not everyone's cheering. Other rookies see the spotlight, the deals, the attention, and they feel some type of way. Because the truth is, Shedeur hasn't played a single NFL down yet. He hasn't won at the pro level. He hasn't faced the grind of Sundays. Yet his bank account and exposure look like that of a Pro Bowler. For some, it feels like favoritism that his path has been greased in ways theirs never was. And that brings us back to the obvious, the Deion factor. Having Coach Prime as your father isn't just an advantage, it's a superpower. Connections, opportunities, visibility. Shedeur gets them all by default. And executives know attaching themselves to that Sanders brand is good business. But that raises the question, how much of this rise is Shedeur and how much is the glow of his father's legacy? Still, no one can deny the style Shedeur has carved out for himself. He's not just clocking in, running plays, and going home. Every appearance feels like a statement. The tailored suits, the wristwear, the diamond chains, the luxury cars. This isn't accidental, it's intentional branding. And in an age where personality sells just as much as performance, Shedeur is ahead of the game. But it cuts both ways. The more he builds the empire, the more pressure he puts on himself. Expectations are no longer just high, they're sky high. Every throw, every decision, every game will be dissected. If he delivers, the praise will be monumental. But if he stumbles, the backlash will be louder than anything most rookies ever face. The same spotlight that feeds his brand could turn into the flame that scorches it. Because here's the truth. Shedeur isn't just setting himself up for an NFL career. He's positioning himself as a global figure. Sponsorships, business ventures, media appearances, he's threading it all together. Few athletes his age have this kind of foresight. He's not just reacting to opportunities, he's manufacturing them. So here's where we stand. On one hand, a quarterback with proven skill and leadership, climbing through every challenge he's faced so far. On the other, a brand bigger than most veterans in the NFL. That intersection makes him the most fascinating rookie story in football right now. And the question hanging over it all, can he keep it up when the NFL reality hits? Because once that whistle blows and defenses start coming for him, the cleats, the jewelry, and the hype won't matter. The only thing that will is whether Shedeur Sanders can play at the level his brand suggests. The NFL isn't forgiving. Every rookie, no matter how hyped, eventually hits the wall. The speed of the game, the complexity of defenses, the size of the athletes across the line, it's an adjustment that humbles even the most gifted. And that's where the eyes will be fixed on Shedeur. Because while college football is a proving ground, Sundays are something else entirely. A split second too slow, a throw a hair off, a misread in coverage, and suddenly the narrative shifts. The kid with millions in endorsements, the kid with more chains than completions, could quickly become the target of endless criticism. And the media? They'll eat it up. They always do. Every misstep becomes a headline. Every interception becomes a segment. That's what comes with fame. But here's the twist. Shedeur might actually thrive under that pressure. Because if there's one thing he's shown already, it's composure. In moments where others crack, he remains calm. When the spotlight blazes, he doesn't blink. That's what makes him dangerous, not just his skill, but his ability to treat chaos like routine. And yet, the comparisons won't stop. Every rising quarterback is measured against legends. For Shedeur, the parallels aren't just to NFL greats, they're to his father. Deion Sanders changed the game as a cornerback, as a personality, as a cultural force. He didn't just play football, he redefined what it meant to be a superstar athlete. Now people are watching to see if Shedeur can do the same at quarterback. That's a heavy crown to carry. What makes this story so unique is that it's bigger than football. When Shedeur walks into a room, he doesn't look like a rookie athlete. He looks like a mogul in the making. Every move is polished, every image crafted, every moment branded. He's not stumbling into fame. He's building it brick by brick with the precision of someone who understands this game off the field as much as on it. But that comes with envy. Veterans who spent years grinding for recognition see Shedeur getting it overnight. Players who clawed their way through obscurity resent how easily doors open for him. And let's be honest, not every locker room welcomes that kind of energy. In a sport built on humility, teamwork, and grit, someone who shines brighter than the team crest can create tension. And if Shedeur wants longevity, he'll have to balance being the brand with being the teammate. What helps him, though, is that he's not trying to be anyone else. He's not mimicking another quarterback's swagger. He's not copying an athlete's blueprint. He's charting his own lane. That authenticity is what fans gravitate toward. It's why kids want his cleats. It's why social media explodes every time he drops a new look. People can sense when someone's faking it, and with Shedeur, there's no act. Now let's talk money. Because while the focus is on football, the financial side of his story is impossible to ignore. Rookie contracts in the NFL are set by draft position. No matter how talented you are, the league has its limits. But endorsements? That's an open field, and Shedeur's field is wide open. If the rumored Nike extension lands at the number insiders are whispering, we could be looking at the most lucrative rookie endorsement package in NFL history. Think about that. A rookie quarterback walking into the league already out-earning veterans not from play, but from marketing. That's not just rare, that's disruptive. It changes how brands evaluate athletes. It changes how future rookies approach their own careers. Shedeur might end up being the case study that rewrites the blueprint for how athletes monetize their prime. NIL was step 1. The NFL is step 2. And what he's building beyond that could be step 3, full-scale empire. But again, it circles back to performance. Because here's the cold truth. If Shedeur doesn't deliver on the field, the brand cracks. No one wants to buy shoes from a quarterback riding the bench. No one wants to see commercials of a player who's struggling to get snaps. Performance validates everything else, and Shedeur knows it. Every time he talks, you can hear it in his tone. He's aware that all the glitz won't matter if the pressure, that word follows every quarterback. Some crumble under it, some manage it, and a select few seem to thrive when the weight is crushing. Shedeur? He's built like the latter. Look at his track record, game-winning drives, moments where the scoreboard says it's over, but he refuses to let go. That calmness, that refusal to panic is what separates him. Because pressure in football isn't just about a collapsing pocket. It's about the noise, the critics, the expectations, the cameras, the doubts. And Shedeur treats all of it like background static. But let's not sugarcoat it. The NFL is a different beast. Those defensive linemen chasing him down are faster. Those safeties lurking in coverage are sharper. The schemes are complex. The hits more violent. The margin for error thinner than ever. Every rookie quarterback takes those lumps. The question is, how fast can Shedeur adapt? How quickly can he turn mistakes into lessons, criticism into fuel, doubt into drive? That will define his rookie season more than any commercial deal or sideline clip. There's also leadership, because being an NFL quarterback isn't just about throwing spirals. It's about commanding a huddle filled with grown men veterans with families, paychecks, and pride. It's about walking into a locker room and earning respect, not demanding it. Shedeur comes in with fame, with flash, with an aura most rookies don't have. But respect in the NFL isn't given for chains or cleats. It's given when you take hits and get back up. When you deliver in crunch time. When you stay late watching film. That's the silent test he'll face. And let's be real, some people are waiting for him to slip. That's how it works. Every great story has doubters. Every rising star has critics. Some think he's more influencer than quarterback. Some believe he's just a product of his last name. Some say the money came too fast, too soon. And for Shedeur, proving them wrong isn't just about stats, it's about rewriting perception. Every touchdown erases a headline. Every win quiets the noise. Every comeback shifts the narrative. The role of his father, Dion, also looms large. Primetime isn't just a dad. He's a coach, a mentor, a living legend. Some say that's an advantage. Others whisper it's a crutch. But let's face it, growing up in the shadow of an icon can break people. It can make you question your worth, your identity. Shedeur doesn't seem bothered. If anything, he embraces it. He doesn't run from the comparisons. He doesn't shrink from the spotlight. He leans in, like he was born for it. And maybe he was. What makes this journey fascinating is the duality of it. On one side, you've got the polished brand, the suits, the cleats, the endorsements, the perfectly crafted image. On the other side, you've got the grinder, the quarterback watching film late into the night, the player throwing passes until his arm aches, the competitor who refuses to let the game beat him. Both exist in Shedeur. And if he can keep those in balance, he might just become something the NFL hasn't quite seen before. The culture shift he represents is undeniable. For years, quarterbacks were expected to be buttoned up, traditional, almost corporate. Shedeur flips that on its head. He brings swagger, fashion, and individuality to the most scrutinized position in sports. He's not just showing up to play. He's showing up to redefine what a quarterback can look like, sound like, and represent. And whether old school fans like it or not, that's the direction the league is heading. But here's the catch. Innovation always meets resistance. For every fan who loves his style, there's another who hates it. For every kid buying his cleats, there's a critic saying he hasn't earned them. That polarization, it's part of his power. Because in today's world, indifference is death. Love him or hate him, people are talking. And in the business of sports, attention is currency. Let's not forget the generational angle. Young fans don't just watch football. They live on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. They consume highlights, fashion, and personality as much as they consume stats. Shedeur understands that instinctively. He's not just speaking to traditional fans. He's connecting with the next wave. That makes him more than a quarterback. It makes him a bridge between eras. Financially, the ceiling is staggering. Picture this. If Shedeur combines on-field success with his off-field empire, he won't just be another wealthy athlete, he'll be the prototype of the modern sports mogul. We're talking production companies, fashion lines, tech investments, community initiatives. He's already thinking like an entrepreneur. Football may be the foundation, but it's not the whole house. And that's where his story gets even bigger. But here's the reminder that keeps the story grounded. Everything still comes down to the game. For all the cleats, all the chains, all the millions, the NFL has a way of humbling anyone who doesn't respect it. If Shedeur forgets that, if he gets lost in the lights, the league will remind him quickly. And that's why his journey is so compelling. Because he knows the stakes, he knows the criticism waiting, he knows the line between icon and afterthought is razor thin. And yet, watch him speak, watch him move, watch him play, and you can't shake the sense that he's ready. Ready for the pressure, ready for the scrutiny, ready for the challenge. Some athletes arrive in the league and you can tell they're just happy to be there. Shedeur? He looks like he's been planning this for years. Like every step of his career has been building to this exact moment. And maybe, just maybe, that's why the hype feels justified. Every era in football has its faces, its symbols, its defining figures. Decades ago, it was Montana, Marino, Elway. Later, Brady and Manning carried the torch. Recently, Mahomes has become the standard bearer for a new generation. The question now, will Shedeur Sanders carve his way into that lineage? Not just as another quarterback, but as a cultural force unlike any before him. That's the intrigue. That's the anticipation. Because what we're witnessing isn't just about touchdowns or completion percentages. It's about the collision of sport, culture, and business. Shedeur sits at the intersection, where a first down pass can double as a viral clip, where a touchdown celebration becomes a marketing campaign, where a game-winning drive can launch not only a season, but an empire. That's how different this moment feels. It's no longer just about Sunday, it's about every day, every platform, every eyeball that follows him. There's also the family factor. Primetime was more than a Hall of Famer. He was a showman who redefined swagger in sports. And now, here's Shedeur, not a carbon copy, but an evolution. Where Dion brought the flash of gold chains and sideline dances, Shedeur adds tech deals, NIL money, and brand partnerships to the mix. It's the 20th century upgrade to the Sanders legacy, a reminder that greatness doesn't have to repeat itself, it can reinvent itself. The doubters will always be there. They'll question his accuracy, his pocket awareness, his ability to read NFL defenses. They'll say he hasn't proven anything until he wins in January. And they're right, because potential doesn't guarantee anything. But that's the beauty of sports. You can't fake results. The field tells the truth. And when Shedeur steps on that turf, all the noise quiets, all the cameras blur, and it comes down to whether he can deliver. That's why every snap matters. Every throw is a chance to add to his case. Every drive is a chance to shut down the critics. Every season is a chapter in a story the world is watching unfold in real time. And unlike most rookies, unlike most prospects, Shedeur knows people aren't just hoping he succeeds, they're betting on it, building campaigns around it, shaping narratives around it. That's pressure. That's power. That's opportunity. The cultural reach extends beyond football fields. You'll see it in music videos, in sneaker collaborations, in youth camps, in business investments. Already, kids wear his number not because of stats, but because of style, because of presence, because he makes the game feel bigger. That's rare. That's influence. And in the modern sports world, influence is sometimes as valuable as stats. Still, influence fades if performance doesn't match it. That's the fine line he walks. Too much hype without delivery, and the story turns sour. But if the hype matches reality, if the play validates the persona, then he becomes untouchable. Then he becomes one of those names that don't just live in highlight reels, but in history books. And maybe that's the lesson of Shedeur Sanders, that in this new era, a quarterback isn't just a quarterback. He's a brand, a businessman, a role model, a lightning rod. He's not just throwing passes, he's setting trends. He's not just leading huddles, he's shaping culture. And while some will say that's too much weight for one athlete, maybe that's exactly the role he was built for. The journey is far from complete. Rookie year will have its bumps, its interceptions, its growing pains, but it will also have flashes moments that make people sit up and realize this kid is different. And those flashes, those sparks, are what ignite legacies. The Sanders legacy isn't finished. It's evolving, growing, expanding. And Shedeur is the one carrying it forward, not in his father's shadow, but in his own spotlight. So as the NFL world watches, as fans debate, as critics sharpen their takes, one thing feels certain. Shedeur Sanders isn't here to just play the game. He's here to shift it, to bend it, to reimagine it. And whether you believe in the hype or not, whether you cheer for him or root against him, you won't be able to ignore him. Because once in a while, a player arrives who doesn't just join the league,